Nope.
Yo, what's up? Another week 4. Kind of getting into the thick of things. Conference schedules are starting to play out. Let's go over the week 3 results. This is just the season results. Brian is off to a hot start. Yeah, which sucks, but he's off to a hot start. He is 21-14 plus 6.96 units. It's actually pretty impressive through 3 weeks. I am in second place. I'm 23-22. Thank you. Appreciate that. 23-22. I'm plus 0.86 units. Nagy is 14-14. He's minus 1.7 units. Zach is struggling. He is 16-19, minus 4.89 units. We are all 2-1 on our DODs. Zach and Nagy lost theirs last week, so one game losing streak for them. And then Ryan, even though he is in first place, is the first time he's won a week. So, Ryan, good job. Congrats. Big time. But, all right, let's get into it. Okay, this past weekend, I think it showed, like, none of us probably thought Nebraska was that good, which they aren't. But Oklahoma didn't necessarily look great against them. And then Clemson, we all know Georgia Tech is, like, a horrendous football team. And they had a chance to score and tie it up with like a minute left in the fourth quarter. That is actually the only game I really watched just because it was on and I was like, oh, I hope Clemson loses. But they both look iffy. I think Clemson looks a lot more iffy than Oklahoma because Oklahoma's offense has at least looked good. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Oklahoma still has a chance to – like, do you think Oklahoma slips up or do you think Clemson slips up? If you had to bet on one to make the playoffs, which one would you bet on?
I'd bet on Clemson.
You bet on Clemson to make the playoffs?
Yeah, the ACC sucks.
Yeah, but they're bad. They're like not good though.
Dude, they don't play anyone though.
No, I know. The ACC is like really, really, really bad.
Like I don't but the rest of their schedule, sorry. They play NC State.
No, you're fine.
NC State, Boston College, Syracuse, Pitt, Florida State, Louisville, Connecticut, Wake Forest, South Carolina. I mean, that's nobody.
Yeah, South Carolina is probably the best team they'll play. Well,
I mean,
yeah. Wait, did North Carolina State beat South Carolina, or did they play, or who did North Carolina State lose to?
Have they lost yet?
Or did they beat an SEC team?
They're 2-1. They lost to Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
Yeah, so North Carolina or South Carolina is going to be the best team Clemson probably plays the rest of the year. And they're not that good. But, okay, to your point, Zach, this is kind of what I was thinking over the weekend. And before I get into that question, though, Oklahoma, which it happens every year, and it kind of sucks, though. But, like, it does matter when you lose. Because, like, if Oklahoma probably loses anytime after week 6 or 7, they would need a lot of help, and they're probably not getting back in. But if they lost week 1, they definitely would climb back up the rankings and stuff. But, like, so it does matter when you lose. But my question would be, obviously Clemson's been very dominant over the last 10 years. They've been very good. They're right up there recruiting-wise, everything. But, like, do you think them playing the ACC has played any factor that? Like, they've been able to – like, one year they played A&M, but they've been able to basically skate by, like, knowing that, like, 1, they could probably drop 1, /2, there hasn't been a year in the ACC where you'd be like, oh, yeah, Clemson would lose twice. So, like, you're kind of playing, like, a easy-ass schedule to prepare you. Just like last year, I think Ohio State only playing 6 games helped them. Less injuries, all that kind of stuff. So, like, do you think that, like – now, obviously, they would have won a few. They still would have gone. But, like, if they go to the Big Ten, SEC for sure, Big 12 – Pac-12, I think they'd probably run pretty easily, but not as easily as they do the ACC. Do you think that would have a difference in what their success has been the last 10 years?
Yeah, without a doubt. Minus Deshaun Watson's junior year when they won it, and then minus the year Trevor Lawrence, the freshman. Both those Clemson teams were better than the country. Like, those teams were outliers. Sure. But every other year, yeah, they would have – if they were in a different conference, I think their record would reflect differently. I mean, you can make that case for a lot of teams. But I just think the remaining schedule is it's nothing. I mean, at least Oklahoma still got to play Texas and Iowa State. I think they might be at Iowa State. I'd have to check, but
and Oklahoma. It's at Oklahoma.
Yeah,
they do play.
Oklahoma State's not a bad team. Oklahoma State's not a bad team.
They play at Texas.
Well, that's at
Cotton Bowl
State Fair, right?
Cotton Bowl, yeah.
And then they play at Kansas State October 2nd. I think Kansas State has beaten Oklahoma 2 straight years.
They did lose their quarterback.
They did last year.
Did they?
Yeah.
They beat him last year for sure. I know that.
Is he out for a while?
I think so.
Wait, who's hurt?
Kansas State's quarterback.
Oh.
It's not Klein, right? That dude was there for like 30 years. Is that still his name? I was gonna say that dude was there forever. Ryan, who do you think? Do you think it would really affect it, or do you think just a few years?
I'm sorry. What was the question again?
Like, do you think if they were in the Big Ten, and let's say, I agree with Zach's point of like the year that Deshaun Watson won it and the year that they won it with Trevor Lawrence, those two teams were better than everyone, and I think they run the table no matter where they're at. But year in and year out, if they're in the Big Ten, and let's say they had a stretch of Penn State, Michigan, Michigan State, and then Wisconsin, like that's a lot tougher than a stretch of Virginia, North Carolina just started being good, a Georgia Tech, and like each year when you're playing that ACC schedule, like it kind of gives you the benefit of the doubt to go to the playoffs, and then you only have to win a few games. Or do you think they definitely slip up a little, by like kind of like Ohio State has done quite a few times where they have one loss?
Oh, I definitely think Clemson has a chance to slip up this year. I just don't think. I mean, I know their defense is good, but like the offense kind of stinks.
Their offense is really bad. Like it's kind of weird. Like they're really bad.
And honestly, if you told me that they lost this week in NC State, I wouldn't be that surprised. NC State's not that bad.
I totally agree with you. I would not be that shocked if they lost to NC State too, because one, they're not that good, and two, like, NC State their offense is decent, and they seem like a team that, could give them struggles. But so wait, Zach, you said you would bet on Clemson going. Ryan, now the one thing that they do have is they did play Georgia week 1, so like they can't slip up at all. And this is probably their worst team. This is probably their worst team in 7 years. So Ryan, who would you bet on if you had a future Clemson or Oklahoma to make the playoffs?
I'd put it definitely on Oklahoma.
Oklahoma?
Yeah.
See, I kind of agree with you too.
I just think that it's kind of Clemson is showing that it's hard to replace first-round talent, a lot of it. I know we see Alabama do it a lot, but Alabama operates at a different.
Alabama is the only outlier.
Yeah.
When everyone said Dabo has caught Alabama, this year literally specifically shows that no one will ever catch Saban. But this is a stat I wanted to read real quick, though.
Because I thought DJ Youngalale, whatever, however you say his last name, I thought he looked really good last year, and I thought that he was going to – now, did I think he was going to, like, set the world on fire this year? No, but I thought he'd score more than 14 against Georgia Tech.
DJ is fine. Their offensive line sucks.
Yeah, it is.
You can't fault the quarterback when you got a shitty line.
Yeah, but he hasn't looked like great either. Now, this is what I wanted to say, though. Clemson is dead last in the ACC in yards per game on offense. They're the only team. Now, think about how bad the ACC is. They're the only team in the ACC that has not had 1,000 yards for the season yet. The only team in the ACC. Think about Florida State. They've had 1,000 yards.
Well, they had, 450 on Notre Dame?
But still, like, they're bad.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
So that's a misleading stat. And their offensive line does suck, but I think a lot has to fall on DJ too. And, they don't – Shipley has definitely, after this game, he was put himself – yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's the number one guy, so that will be interesting.
Weird. That's weird because I don't want to dive too deep into it. It's like Will Shipley came down between Notre Dame and Clemson, or that's what reports said. Isn't that kind of weird that you could say that Will Shipley had a clear path to playing time as a freshman at Clemson than Notre Dame? Like
but looking at Notre Dame's running backs, like they're clearly better than anything. I agree. Like you'd think that definitely that would not be it, but like, he definitely knew that he was gonna play as a freshman, so he chose Clemson.
Also, Clemson's number one running back commit from last year, DeMarcus Bowman, transferred to Florida last year midseason.
And then Chez Malusi transferred to Wisconsin.
Yep.
So
is that the guy who started initially this year? But he transferred because they told him that Shipley was going to start playing. So that's why he transferred. The other guy it would be very interesting if the other guy stayed. He transferred to Florida. But moving on, Michigan State, the Michigan schools for the past 2-3 years have looked pretty iffy. Michigan's looked good. I know they haven't really played anyone, but they've looked good, which is something I don't think you can say the past few years. Even when they play shit opponents, they've played shitty. Michigan State, they've looked like a formidable team and pretty good. I think that Miami game was way more how bad Miami is and not really that Michigan State's like a top 25 team. I think it's more Miami is just horrendous. But I think you're seeing some schools that first-year coach was a COVID year are starting to be able to actually coach this year, and their teams look like an actual football team. So Michigan schools are back. Who knows what that'll be like. Harbaugh's having fun in interviews and not being completely weird, which tells me that he thinks this team is actually really good.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree.
So it would be interesting too if they didn't lose that wide receiver. That kid was really good. Bell, right?
Yeah, Ronnie Bell.
Yeah. So do you guys now Michigan? I think we all agree they are pretty good, and who knows? They'll have to actually play someone. Michigan State. Did you think the Michigan State Miami game was more Miami's bad or Michigan State? They're maybe a top 25 team this year.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I would say both.
I think I don't know his name. I like Michigan State's coach. I think he can turn them around.
Mel Tucker.
Not now when I say turn them around, I'm not saying he's going to win the Big Ten anytime soon, but could they be a consistent 9-3 team? I could see that happening.
That running back they have is good.
Yeah, he actually leads the nation in rushing yards a game. I think he has 165 a game.
He's good.
And yeah, I took Michigan State last week plus 6.5. Money line crossed my mind, and I should have done it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you guys. I think it is a little bit of both. But I do think it falls more that Miami is bad. I don't know if you guys saw the one play where the safety, I've seen a bunch of videos on the internet about it, but they're running a screen pass with the wide receiver. He's going out. The safety's running, sees the guy, and instead of running at the guy with the ball, he literally runs into the blocker and lets himself get blocked. It was what's one of the wildest plays I've ever seen in my life. It was one of those where you're the Giants blocking each other kind of thing. It was one of those plays. Kind of weird. All right, moving on. Pence, what's up?
I was going to say, it's not like Miami, they got demolished by Alabama, but they didn't look good against Appalachian State either.
Yeah, but Appalachian State, I think would beat a good amount of teams. Yeah, so that's why I thought that they would be okay. But I agree, they didn't look good.
I just think that they had that line way wrong. I think the wrong team was favored.
I saw this thing, and it was Miami should hire Deion Sanders, and they probably should.
Florida State should hire Deion Sanders.
Whoever fires their coach first, which I think would be Miami over Florida State, probably should hire Deion Sanders because it's one of those guys that would just at least get the guys there. That's all you really need at this point. Now,
look what he did at Jacksonville State. Was it Jacksonville State?
Jackson State. But that's what I'm saying. Who knows how he'll be after he gets the guys there? But he'll get the guys there. And that's what they need.
Yeah.
Miami panicking when Mark Richt retired to get this guy to come back was so stupid. This guy is not a good head coach, and it's really showing. Now, next thing, Penn State wideout. I think it was fucking awesome to see a wideout again. That was Penn State when they're at home, big game. It's always cool to see that. Always cool to see the entrance, everything like that. Just kind of makes you think yeah, wow, college football is fucking fully back, which is nice. Last thing before we get into some games, Bama, I think, after week 1, Miami's bad, so it's whatever. Florida is a pretty good team, so on the road, that's a good win for them. But, Bama's definitely
that
beatable.
Quarterback is a stud.
For Florida?
Yes.
Yes, he's really good. So
he is crazy athletic.
I don't know why he didn't give the ball up on that 2-point conversion. They're he and the running back started running in together.
Dude, he's 6'4", 240. Did you see the video of him doing a backflip in pads?
No. Yeah.
That is unreal.
He also in high school was like a wide receiver as a freshman or as a true freshman or sophomore on his high school team because they had like a D1 quarterback. He was like out there making like Odell one-handed catches like over three people and stuff. Like the kid's just an absolute stud. He's like literally like what Dan Mullen wants to like make in a lab for Dan Mullen's offense. So like Florida with him could be really fucking good. He
can actually throw outside. Like Emory Jones couldn't throw.
Yeah, but he's also like super athletic, which is like the problem with Mullins, like other than Dak and obviously Tebow, is like he's either found a really, really athletic guy who can't throw that well, or like a who's the guy from last year? Kyle Trask guy who's like not athletic, so he can't run, he can't do the Tebow, jump passes and all that. So moving on. Big game this weekend, definitely the biggest game of the weekend. I was saying before the show, everyone's fucking going to be there. College game day. Fox's College Game Day show, Barstool's College Game Day show. They're all going to Wisconsin, Notre Dame at Soldier Field. Wisconsin had a bye week, and Notre Dame played Purdue. Notre Dame's defense probably looked the best it has. Notre Dame's offense, I don't know, it's kind of iffy, but Wisconsin opens as 5.5-point favorites, which I think is absurd. I think it is solely because the Penn State game, they had a chance to win, and I think people think Penn State's like legit top 5 good, which I think is also absurd. But what do we think about this game?
Go ahead, Ryan, you first. Okay. When the line first dropped, I immediately took Notre Dame. It's probably one, I'm a fan. 2, I don't think Wisconsin is that good. I also think it'll factor in. I know they said Buchner, however you pronounce his name for Notre Dame. They said he is injured, so I think that can make a factor of helping Notre Dame's offense in terms of just like an electric moment, just because Jack Cohen's not as athletic. So that'll make a play into it. Notre Dame's defense finally looked alive and was very, very good. That always helped with Kyle Hamilton, but, I mean, that's going to be the biggest case in this game is Wisconsin offense hasn't looked good at all. Can Notre Dame's defense continue to make Wisconsin's offense not look good? Or are they going to give up the big plays?
Yeah, I think Zach's last points were pretty much what will make or break this game for Notre Dame. I think points will be hard to come by. Notre Dame's going to have to figure out how to move the ball on offense because I think it's going to be hard to run the ball against Wisconsin's front seven.
Yeah, Notre Dame's offensive line still sucks too.
Whether that's quick passing games to the running back or man up and figure out how to run the ball. I mean, but yeah, I mean, Notre Dame's first real contest of the year, and I don't know. I guess it'll be in my pick, so I don't want to say anything. And also, we're recording our Wisconsin preview tomorrow, so I don't want to say too much.
What are you, fucking Kirk Herbstreit? You can't give out your pick on game day because you're calling the goddamn game? All right. So here's my thoughts on this. With Notre Dame's defense, what are they bad at doing? They're bad at giving up ginormous plays. Wisconsin, when you think Wisconsin, you do not think anything is a big play. So I think that plays into Notre Dame's hands. How Wisconsin plays offense works perfectly for how Notre Dame plays defense, because I don't think Wisconsin can burn Notre Dame, and that's how you burn Notre Dame's defense. Now, Cohen, he hasn't looked great, yes, but I think he is a competitor. He's obviously good enough to be a Power 5 quarterback.
Revenge game.
And that's what I was about to say. Graham Mertz took his job. I know he was hurt and whatever, but he transferred because Wisconsin told him, hey, dude, you lost your job. You're not playing anymore, even if you come back. It's a revenge game for Jack Cohen. He wants to go out, and there's not a team, even if he enjoyed his time in Wisconsin, there's not a team in the country that he would want to beat more than Wisconsin. So he will play probably his best game. Well, he actually has to in order for them to have a chance, though. But I think this would be his best bet. I could see him playing like shit against like Stanford, but like Wisconsin lighting it up. I think Notre Dame's defense is also playing well last week. Will give them confidence. And we got to remember Marcus Freeman's an aggressive coach on defense. It's his first year, so like each week helps Notre Dame's defense because they got athletes, they got players. Now I do agree with what Ryan said. They won't be able to run the football. One, because Notre Dame's offense line is fucking horrendous. It's so bad. It's hard to watch, especially as a Notre Dame fan, because you're so used to just absolute studs on the offense line every year. And Wisconsin's front seven, I do think, is pretty good. Now, this is like a Kevin Austin game. Can Kevin Austin beat DBs one-on-one? I think yes. I think Kevin Austin has the talent to beat a Wisconsin DB one-on-one. Now, will he do it? I don't know, because the kid was supposed to be good for every year he's been at Notre Dame, and he hasn't been able to stay out of his own way. But I like Notre Dame. I think, honestly, in my opinion, I think whoever was going to be favored, I would have liked the underdog in this game. Now you're saying that you give me 5.5 points, 6 points. I love Notre Dame. Like, it's going to be a close game. Now, it's one of those games where you're like, the under could be 40.5, and I'd still like the under. But then, Notre Dame has a special teams touchdown. Cohen throws a pick six. Then you're like sitting there like, oh, my God, the over is going to hit for no reason. But I like Notre Dame too.
Yeah. Also, thank God Kyle Hamilton wasn't ejected for targeting against Purdue.
What's up?
On that one hit where the David Bell got hurt?
Yeah. Thankfully,
I don't think that was targeting.
No, that wasn't.
I don't either.
Yeah, no.
More they do it.
That would have been overturned though.
Before we move on, I just want to say, really the only way I can see Wisconsin consistently moving the ball, whether it's chunk plays or just converting third downs, is if Notre Dame doesn't tackle well. That's really the only way I can see it. And also, Wisconsin loves to bring their linebackers on blitzes. They love it. They're probably the most aggressive group of linebackers in the country. They easily on Notre Dame's schedule. And the one way I could see them going against that is passes to Kyron Williams and Chris Tyree, where you're seeing Michael Mayer on drag routes, like a 5 or 7 yard drag route across the middle. So,
Michael Mayer better be running a 4.440 because Cohen's going to have like 0.2 seconds with how bad the offensive line is. But I do agree. In terms of Notre Dame's tackling, they haven't been good this year, so that's not like a crazy thing to think that they'll be awful at tackling again. Moving on, A&M, Arkansas. I think Arkansas has kind of surprised some people. A&M, don't have their starting quarterback, still have a lot of talent. Who knows how they are? What are you guys' thoughts on this game?
This could, I guess, I know you're saying the A&M injury, but this could help Arkansas again. I mean, I think they're up in the top 15 in the country now. Yeah. Obviously, when they played Texas, I mean, they beat Texas pretty handily. So I think if they were to beat now Texas A&M, they're going to drop into the top 10. I mean, when's the last time Arkansas was top 10? Darren McFadden.
Yeah.
I was about to say Darren McFadden.
Yeah. But, I mean, it'd be cool to see Arkansas back up there. Maybe see another SEC team that you haven't seen for about a decade. So,
people forget that Arkansas has like Jerry Jones. They have a fuck ton of like huge money boosters.
Oh yeah, they have a lot of donors and money.
They're like, if they get good, like they'll stay good.
Yeah. So yeah, I see Arkansas winning this game. The injuries with A&M, I think, just hurts them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I like Arkansas in this game, especially being at home. Texas A&M, without their starting quarterback again, they struggled. I will say it was on the road, but playing against Colorado, who then got smashed against Minnesota. I think Colorado had less than 60 yards of total offense in the entire game at home against Minnesota. And then I don't remember who Texas A&M played last week, but they handled them pretty easily. I think they were a MAC team.
It wasn't anyone good.
I'm trying to pull that up right now.
Ryan, to your Colorado point, they haven't scored a point on it's like 27 straight offensive drives. It's the longest streak I think ever in college football.
Yeah. So
pretty good.
I would say that Texas A&M's win against Colorado was not impressive at all. And yeah, I think Arkansas looks like a pretty good team. And if you're going to give me points at home, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with both of what you guys are saying. I think A&M, they just haven't looked good. Like, they beat Kent State, but, like, the MAC has proven that they're literally the worst conference by a lot this year. So, like, that doesn't really do anything for me. And then for Colorado to turn around and get literally just by Minnesota, and A&M probably
It was awful.
should have lost to them. Yeah, A&M probably should have lost them. Like, yeah, give me Arkansas at points with the crowd. With time he makes a mistake, will be rattled. So I like Arkansas too. Now let's get into our cards. Ryan, remember this week, do not say your do or die while giving your picks. And Zach, I was thinking about this the other day with Ryan always riding against us. I'm shocked he didn't text us the other day like, hey, I'm riding the Taliban if you guys want to ride with me. We're like, dude, we've been on America's side the last 3 years. What the fuck? But
no.
Zach, you start since you had the worst week. I'll go second. Ryan, you're last.
Okay.
All right. First play I have is App State. I bought the hook, so I got -7, -122 since I bought it. I got ND money line +198 versus Wisconsin. I got ND +5.5 versus Wisconsin. I got Boise State -9.5 at Utah State. This is more just me being wake the fuck up time. Clemson -9.5 against NC State. This line, I almost didn't want to take it because it went up 2 points since I saw it last night. But Michigan -20.5 versus Rutgers. Then I have Arkansas +4.5 versus A&M. UCLA, this line has actually gone down since I saw it. UCLA -4.5 versus Stanford. This line, I actually reversed my pick because of the line change. I have Tennessee +20.5 versus at Florida. I just think in a rivalry game, 20.5 is a lot. Don't get me wrong, Tennessee has not looked good, but I think 20.5, just giving them that, and Florida's coming off that bad. I mean, not that bad loss, but a loss like that to Alabama. So I think they could win this game, but not win big. I got Michigan State -4.5 versus Nebraska, and then I got Akron, Ohio State over 67.5. I just need Akron to give me 14 to 21 points, and that over hits with ease.
Okay. I have Notre Dame +5.5 too. Notre Dame money line +198. LSU -2.5. San Jose State money line +122. Arkansas money line +184. 11.5. Navy Houston under 48.5. And that is my card.
Small card.
I know. I'm definitely going to add some.
Yeah, I'll be adding some as well.
Yeah.
So my picks are. Hold on, I need to mark my my DOD so I don't say it on accident.
For the third week in a row.
I know, right?
Yeah,
right.
I'm definitely going to be adding some. All right, go on.
Louisville, FSU over 62.5. I don't think either defenses are good. Both have relatively decent offenses, so I think that'll hit. Michigan State -4.5 against Nebraska. Arkansas +4.5 against Texas A&M. UCLA -4.5 against Stanford. I think Stanford's I think their last couple weeks are an overreaction. I still don't think they're very good. Toledo -4.5 against Ball State. Oklahoma -15.5 against West Virginia. I think Oklahoma wakes up after struggling against Nebraska and West Virginia with a very emotional win against Virginia Tech. Liberty -6.5 against Syracuse. SMU, TCU over 63.5. And I think Clemson and NC State go over 47.5. I think that is an overreaction to Clemson's struggles so far.
Don't forget to add juices when you send lines.
I know.
Yeah. Zach, who's your lock of this week?
My DOD for this week is BYU -22.5 for South Florida.
BYU -20.5 against South Florida. Okay. Mine is Army -7.5 against Miami, Ohio. I think Army is pretty good this year, and I think for small schools like a Miami type, I think the option is so hard for them to defend. I think Army just blows them out.
I'm
Ryan?
with Louisville -1.5 against Florida State. I think Louisville looked good against their win against Central Florida. Now is it? So it's weird. So they looked good against Central Florida, then they looked like amateurs against Ole Miss. Is it just Ole Miss is that good, or did Louisville figure it out?
Both.
I think it's both as well. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go Louisville -1.5 against FSU for my DOD.
I'm adding that to my card. I like that. Louisville did look good against UCF. I think UCF is actually a pretty good team too. I think Ole Miss is like a top 15 team too.
I'm adding San Jose State money line. I forgot who are they playing? I know their coaches.
Western Michigan. Okay. All right. Anything else? Ryan and Katie will be at Chicago this weekend for Notre Dame Wisco.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone I guess will be there, but the rest of us will be watching all the games. So
more importantly, Irish Insight will be
there. All right. We'll see everyone next week. If I were you, I'd start tailing Ryan, or maybe not. Maybe I'll make him start picking bad. But
everyone tail him. Everyone tail him.
I agree. Everyone tail
take his
Ryan.
pick.
Zach definitely needs it the most because he's down
I'm gonna start charging
11 units by him from him. Yeah. So Zach needs a big week. Zach, pulling down the show. We need you to have a big week. Ryan, you have to wait till after the season to start charging for your picks.
I'll put them behind the wall. Yep.
We
have some burner accounts we can get you on.
Yeah, we do. It's called Darren Orlowski's Twitter account. All right. We'll see everyone next week. Peace.
See ya.